Meow. Meow. What is it, kitty? Hmm? What? Meow. All right. Do 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 do. All right. Let's pop that over to here. Come on, Boo, down. Bum ba dum ba dum ba doo boo. Boo ba doo ba doo boo boo ba doo boo boo. Wow, cat. Wow. All right. Let's do that. Let's do that. And see if we can get this going here. Okay, City of Heroes. How are y'all doing tonight? We are loading up the game all right. Wow, look at Excelsior. Well, that's crazy. What are they doing for population tonight, I wonder? Let's see here. Population's at 2161. Not too shabby. Fallout Queen's been working hard up to level 12. Hey, Hawk, how you doing today? I think I answered one of your questions earlier. I think we were talking, right? We were talking about you. Hey, Chaos, how you doing today? See, we aim to please here, right? We aim to please, we aim to please. Howdy, Kiko, eat those buffs? Yeah. Yeah, the thing to keep in mind is that, in one way, 2 points of resistance equals only 1 point of defense. That's why when you see defense buffs and you see defense, like things on gear and stuff, you'll sometimes see that there's definitely a higher number of some of that stuff, right? On resistances. But that's because resistances, point for point, against same level enemies are only half as effective. Because you've already got a 50% miss chance against enemies. So a 1% defense is really the same as 2% resistance in a way. I say in a way because there's all these other variables you have to consider as well. Where is my Ouroboros? We are living the dream. Just had a little bit of an earthquake over here. A little bit of an earthquake. Yeah, so one thing like I pointed out with... so you take a look at this tanker here, right? And in defensive mode, she's got 44% smashing, lethal, and toxic resistance. That means 100 points comes in, she will resist 44 points of it, so she'll still take, 56 points of damage, which is, still a chunk of damage, but there is that, right? But here's what's kind of interesting. This is a level 27 tanker, right? Now, let's take a look at this Stalker. If we take a look at the Stalker over here. Where's my Stalker? Where's my Stalker? Oh, let's see where I put that Stalker at. It's on one of these pages here. Have I not brought her over from Excelsior yet? You can just look at forums.homecoming.com to see how many players are online right now. Stalker. So let's take a look at Iron Willow, this low-level Stalker, right? Right? And let's take her. How many toggles do you have going on that tanker? I have a lot of toggles going. So you take a look at this Stalker. And she has range and melee defense of 21%, right? And if we can use a guarded strike against somebody, let me find a hapless foe. Let's find a helpless foe here somewhere. I just need any foe will do, really. Because I just need to activate the skill. So watch what happens to her. Watch what happens to her defense. Okay. Her melee defense goes up to 32%. 32%. That means that an average level enemy with a melee attack only has a 17% chance to hit her. Right? Now, because normal enemies only have a 50% chance to hit you, that means if 1,000 points was to come in, you would dodge 50% of it. So only 500 points would come in, right? Or we'll say 100 points came in, 50 of it would hit you. Right. So out of that 50 though, but she's dodging an extra 30% when she's using that staff stance melee damage. So that means instead of 50, she's only going to take 20. She's going to take 20. So makes her very, very tanky for a Stalker. Now, that's only against melee hits. Against range hits, she's still taking 20 or she's still taking 30% of those because her range defense is 21%. So she'll take 31% of those. But one way to think about this is, another way to think about this is like, with defense, you dodge twice that number that's on the screen that you would normally take, because normally you would take 50%. Yeah. So it gets kind of wonky. I know it's a little hard to wrap your head around. But just kind of keep in mind that against same level enemies, your dodge percentage chance is already 50%. Defense adds to that. So now your dodge chance is 70%. And every point you go above that is more and more valuable, right? If you go from 90% dodge to 95% dodge, you cut your damage in half. But if you were only at 50% dodge, right, because you're just the base, and you get 5% extra dodge, that's not cutting your damage in half. It's going from 50 to 55. You're cutting it down by 10%. So the higher up you get, the more valuable every point becomes until you hit your cap. That's why it's important to focus on either resistances or defenses, but it really pays to focus on one than to split your attention across two, because of how much you get with, every point above that. The higher up you get. Same thing with resistances, right? The first 10 points of resistances cuts the normal damage you would take by 10%, right? But if you're already at 80%, let's say, right, and then you would only be taking, let's say 100 points was coming in, you'd only take 20. Well, if you take it from 80 to 90, which is 10 points more, you're going to cut that 20 in half. So every point above makes you... Another way to look at it would be maybe at 20% you could handle 2 enemies. At 40% you might be able to handle 4 enemies. And at 80 or 60% you might be able to handle 8 enemies or something like that. It's just the more your defenses go up or your resistances, the more enemies you can handle. Now, it's important to kind of keep this up on the screen because there are enemies who can reduce your defense or reduce your resistances. Generally speaking, I think there's more enemies that reduce your defense than resistances. But the thing is, with defenses, a lot of times they can't reduce your defense unless they hit you first. But once they start hitting you and lowering your defense, they hit you more and more often, and you can have a cascading failure. With resistances, they're probably going to hit you and lower your resistances anyways, and you're going to take more and more damage. But they don't get an increased chance with every lowering of resistance to resist your resistance. Like, the chances to lower your resistance doesn't increase with every hit. It just makes you take more and more damage as long as it stacks. Hey, SL, how are you doing today? And by the way, this is one of my favorite characters, this Stalker right here, because she is so tanky in melee. She's the first character I had that could do ×2 at level, 8. Because she could easily take on so many people at once. I know. It's a lot of maths. It really is a lot of maths. So, generally speaking, the TLDR is this. In my opinion, you can create a more tanky build faster with defense. Furthermore, defense isn't capped as hard as resistance on most characters, right? So, for example, resistance can only go up to 75% on a Sentinel, just like you can a tanker. But defense, you can kind of get defense to where an enemy has only a 5% chance to hit you. When it comes to that, you're sharing the same, cap as anyone else does, right? In a manner speaking. I say in a manner speaking, there's an asterisk on this. There's a huge asterisk on this. But the point being is that it's easier for most classes to get their defenses up very fast and be able to take on more enemies at once if they use defenses rather than resistances for most classes. However, because there's more defensive debuffs out there than resistance debuffs, and because of cascade failure potentiality, it is very spiky. It's not unusual for you to feel very confident about your defense guy to suddenly get his ass kicked because you weren't paying attention to the defense debuffs and getting your butt kicked. Or you were fighting some sort of high-end boss who has a bunch of accuracy bonuses, which essentially negates your high defense. Right? Now, the value of the math, remember the math I was telling you before, where every point above the next one means you're cutting damage down much by a lot. The reverse is also true. If you're relying on high defenses and something debuffs your defenses even by 5 points, well, for most people in the game, that's not a big deal. They're going to take a little bit more damage than what they're used to. But for you, you're suddenly taking double damage. So if you go from 45% defense to 40, you're taking double damage than what you're used to. If you go from 45% to 30, because a couple of debuffs hit you, you're taking quadruple the damage you're used to. Quadruple. So defenses are more spiky and finicky. But overall, on the average, can be a better way for people to be able to deal with large groups of mobs at once. Absolutely. Yeah, just going to ask if defense can be tanked hard. So can resistances in a way. Resistances can also be debuffed pretty hard by certain enemy types. It's just, I think there's more defensive debuffs out there. But the thing is, they do have to land. The thing is, with high defense, the enemy has a problem hitting you to begin with. I've gone through entire groups of huge mobs that have defense debuffs and never got touched because they never got to touch me to apply the defense debuff. But once one of them does eventually hit me, because there's always a 5% chance to hit no matter what, once one of them does hit me, my defense goes down a bit and then it starts a cascade failure. Now, if your defenses are really, really high, they have to chew it down a bit before it gets to a point where it actually increases the math. So, you can build up there's a couple things you can do if you're playing a defensive-y, tanky person to kind of hedge your bets. You can make your defense higher than just 45%. 45% is a good number to be at, but if you want to go, you can go 60, 70, a lot more than that. And that gives you extra protection against high accuracy enemies, against debuffers. Another thing is when it comes to the tanker classes, and I think there's one epic power pool with a power, but there are powers out there that resist debuffs, defensive debuffs. So there are things you can do to protect yourself a bit from that. But you are getting more and more into things that mostly tanks have and blasters do not, for example, or it's hard for blasters to get. So, and that is getting into higher end theory crafting. For most casual players, just understanding, hey, getting your defense up can mean quite a bit, and like you see it on that Sentinel I was showing you, or Sentinel, Stalker. That Stalker can work really, really well. Absolutely. Absolutely. This one, the Staff Fighter. Oh, I love the Staff Fighter. Well, we just put up a video on that MTB just today. But you can see my numbers up here. All you have to do is double click on the word powers, and it pulls up all your stats. And you can right click on any of them and say monitor, and it'll pull up a monitor so you can see where your numbers are at. Yeah. And I think she is on ×2. So if I take her out for a quick little mission here, we'll take this Stalker out for a quick little mission here, and you can kind of see how well she does. Now she has no AoE defense, right? So if they're using AoE attacks, she doesn't have anything against that. But against direct attack, she's pretty good. Oh yeah, it's already done, Master Finn. You're going to see it on the newest video. Oh yeah. The matriarch or the Mirage Monarch. Yeah. That I will say the AI knocked it out of the park with that one. I'm trying to remember which ones of these I've done before. Let's do one of these at random. Let's do one of these. Praetorian ones. Just to do something different, right? Tammy Baker? Oh no. Not Tammy Baker. Oh, now I've got an AoE defense of 46%, but I think that's because I'm stealthing. Can I find some things to beat up now? Can we beat up some things? Ah. I was almost going to play Diablo tonight, guys. We've been playing some Diablo 4 lately. Oh, yeah, the Praetorian stuff. Look at these nice wide hallways, right? OM quadruple G, so nice, so wide. Not at all like certain other hallways that feel all claustrophobic. A map that actually looks straightforward and makes sense and doesn't look like someone just threw a bunch of random number generator bullshit put together. So we got a whole bunch of enemies kind of spread out here, but it's hard to say how they're spread out. That's kind of rude. Generally speaking, if you're not sure if a pool's going to be super, super ugly, you want to use a ranged attack to just see what comes to you. I hate to do that with the Stalker because I really like to come out stealth and whack them really good, but, you know, can't be too careful. So the first thing I do is I do that, you know, I do that spinning hit thing like that. And you see my defense. And look at, I'm taking all 5 of these guys at once on a Stalker. On a Stalker. Look at that, guys. 5 minions at once. No problem for the Stalker. Because the Stalker has high defense and they're using physical attacks. You see that? Now, you can also see up here in the hit roll section, and you can see, you know, let's see here. Hunter misses. Power Jab had a 15% chance to hit. Okay, so he only had a 15% chance to hit. Now he did roll a 95, which was good enough to hit that. Maybe I don't know. I forget exactly how the rolls. But the whole point is, oh, okay, they have to roll less than the percentage number to hit. But you can see here they only have 15% chances to hit. This is super reflexes and staff fighting. So super reflexes is going to give you pretty good dodge chances, defense really. And then and staff fighting has the guardian spin, which gives you that extra defense against melee attacks. So, and it allows it to stack up. Now you could achieve a similar kind of nirvana if, let's say, your melee attack power did minus to hit on enemies. placate him so he doesn't know I'm there, and then stab him in the back with the staff. Now, I did get a few hits. I did get hit a few times in there. Painted one misses. Flurry Fist had a 33% chance to hit. That was the painted one guy right there. He was... I'm not sure why he had a 33% chance to hit. Unless my staff defense might have been down because I got stunned in there. And that's kind of sometimes what I mean by cascade failure. If you lose some of your defense for whatever reason, it can kind of get ugly really quickly. Stab this one in the back. Everything gets a stab in the back. Oh, and he just won the free critical hit of the day. But you can see, I go through a lot of these fights and not take much damage. Obviously, different enemies, though, can be a little bit different. There's a lot of AoE attacks. You can see my AoE defense is almost non-existent. So if there was a lot of AoE attacks on me, it would be pretty sad. Superior ability, yeah. No, stalkers, by the way, which is the right way to pronounce them, are very, very fun. Everybody should want to play a stalker. Everybody should want to play a stalker. And you can see she's just going through things. The thing I like about Stalker is that, as you heard me say a few times, I like to manage their crits. You absolutely manage, where their crits hit. Right there, you can see the crit light up. I missed on the attack, but by coming out stealth, you crit. By placating somebody and then attacking them with an assassin's strike, you hit. And then whenever you basically get enough insight from combos, essentially, you fill up the combo meter, so to speak, you can get another crit. And you decide who gets that crit, right? It's not like Scrapper where the crits kind of happen somewhat randomly. So you can see here, she's got a lot of people on her, right? And you can see where my health is at. And I just take them out quick, fast, and easy with the Stalker. I might have a little bit of an endurance issue with the Stalker. Wait, the orange circle means... Right. That means that the inside is ready to go, and I'm ready to get my super striking critical hit in. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I doubt this guy will last me stabbing him in the back, but we'll see. Oh, he's got a little bit of health in there. Not enough to take 2 more hits, but, Oh, now sometimes when they're rushing in like this is basically a spawn in, and they will see right through your stealth, which is most unfortunate. So you're just going to have to go for it. So you can see I did the combo right there, and that lit right up for another critical hit. So you see it lights up. Pick a new target to get your critical hit in. Don't waste it on somebody on low health if you can help it. The only problem is you have to be fast on it. You can see it's lit up again. Might as well use it on him because there's nobody else near me to crit. But you can see, guys, I'm going through this and you don't see me sweating. You don't see me grabbing green inspirations and having a heart attack. Generally speaking, I'm just tearing through them because my defenses are that good. And it's really easier to build up defenses than it is to build up resistances on most characters. Yeah. So I think defenses get a little bit of a bad rap, but yes, there's some truth to the problems of defenses as well. You know, there are definitely times where the defenses, you know, don't help you as much. Here we got a whole bunch of these guys. So many of these guys. Let's see if we can take on this kind of a big pack. Now, range attacks are a little bit of a weakness for this character because you can see the range defense isn't as good as the... Now I'm going to try to get... Oh, I forgot to activate this doohickey real quick. Alright, that one got a little more ugly, partly because they were using ranged attacks, but still got through that whole pack without having to reach for inspirations. And another reason why, here's another reason why I think, so that you know that pound for pound your defense can be better than... Here's what I always think is funny, guys. Raise your hand if you've been playing this game for a while and you've heard that resistances are better than defenses. Raise your hand if you've heard resistances are better for defenses when building a new character. You should focus on resistances and resistance defenses. By the way, that fire is probably an AoE and probably not helping out my case any. Not since live. So Richard, since live went away, have you heard the opposite? The defenses are better? Oh, you're just cute. Die. Heard that for tank and brutes. Everyone uses defense. All the time. Everyone glazes soft cap defense. What do you mean glazes soft cap defense? What do you mean by exactly on that one? I'm gonna stab somebody in the guts. I'm gonna stab this one in the middle, even though it's gonna be a bad pull. You're dead now. Oh, come on, just hit the one in front of you. Oh, okay. Whoa, I was not expecting a whole nother group behind these. Yeah, I did not see a whole nother group just sneak up somehow behind me. I think it's a spawn on that one. So let me... The problem with spawns is they can see you even when you're stealthed. That's my only concern there. Everybody talks about how amazing it is to have soft cap for defense, even beyond the point of reason. Yeah, ambush, yeah. The problem with those ambushes, they'll see you right past your stealth. They just won't care. The good news is these guys are just all melee guys, so... those guys behind them may not be all melee guys. Well, I had no problem getting through these guys. So I haven't heard that, Richard. I guess maybe I don't run in the same circles. I've only heard that resistances are great, resistances. And even in Homecoming, I kept hearing so much about resistances and whatever have you. But one thing that I always thought was interesting was at the same time, when you talk about people running into a tough situation, you always hear them eating about a bunch of Lux, right? Because Lux give you defense. They don't give you resistance. And so that's what kind of got my head kind of thinking about some of this stuff. It's not unusual to see characters hit, let's say 20%. You can see your 21% defense without hiding. Getting into your 20s defense is actually pretty easy. And I find it a little bit harder to... and I find that's actually pretty nice. Especially if you can lower to hit at the same time. Yeah. But yeah, no, I haven't heard that. I've heard the opposite. So everyone else uses defense. Yeah. So that's interesting. Now, with like I said, I think there's definitely some issues with defense. I think the big thing is so as far as I know, there's not an easy way for enemies to get past resistance. If you got, your resistance pretty high, what are they gonna, the only thing you can do is lower your resistance, and there's probably debuff resistance for that. But with defenses, if their accuracy is high enough, it'll get past your defenses, right? So that's kind of the downside of it. Whack. Wow, I don't know who's missing who more, me or them. Oh, you're cute. You're so cute. Hey, Phantom. How's it going? Well, if your resistances are already high, if your resistance is already at 40 or 50, that 10 extra resistance will be worth, just as much, if not more, to you than the defense. But yes, on a point-for-point basis, if you have no defenses and no extra resistances or whatever have you, then on a point-for-point basis, you are generally better off with the purples, because the purples give roughly the same amount as the oranges, but 10% defense is generally better. Now I say generally, because if you're going against something with a lot of accuracy, like a +4 boss, you might be better off with the resistances. All that hacking stuff, yeah, I don't know. People are hacking into these Discord things all the time, and I don't know what Discord has to do about it. They probably need to do something to address it, because I see it a lot on Discord. For luck takes 9, sorry. It won't take, well, if you already have, well, maybe, but if you're fighting against something with a lot of accuracy, 4 lucks ain't gonna, is going to do about the same amount for you as the oranges. It just depends on what you're fighting against. But if you're fighting against a +4 monster, you know, then the math is gonna swing a lot harder in the other way. That's when you're generally using those damn things. Move to the next part of the tunnels to find eddies. And what's interesting is if you've already got 40 or 50 resist, right? Then eating 4 of those oranges does put you into cap territory real quick. And then it won't matter what the accuracy of your foe is or anything else that he brings to the table. You're going to be able to completely tank it, no problem. But I hardly hear anybody talk about that kind of strategy. Call Mr. G? Oh. Call Mr. G. I did it. Now I gotta go somewhere else. I have to go somewhere, as in right there. Maybe here? Here looks good. Look for anything of interest. Take out the resistance guarding the front area. Oh, you mean like this entire front area? You're almost running 0 since have smash and lethal from tough. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think it's interesting because a lot of tankers and brutes do run resistance, and they do have 40-50 lethal smashing and a few other things, and yet I hardly ever hear them talk about using up oranges, because using oranges, if you've already got 40-50, which you get by just having your tier 1 defensive power, right, with a couple of enhancements in it. It's not, you know, for a brute, it's not too hard to get close to 40 resistance and smashing lethal really quickly. And yet, you hardly ever hear them talking about quaffing down oranges to take on the boss. It's always purples. Purples, purples, purples. And it's really funny because I think the purples are still going to be good against the boss, but they're not going to be great against a high accuracy +3 or 4 boss. Because the difference to hit per level's around 9% anyways. Whack, whack, whack. Take a rest there. I'm chewing through my endurance. Oh, it would help if I turned off my jumping power. Stupid Phil. I picked up Titan Quest 2. I got to say it's a good ARPG. Yeah, we've been playing a lot of Diablo 4 with that. I think, well, here's what's really funny. So a lot of people are playing Diablo games because of the big announcement that just came out. And for those of you who aren't keeping up with the latest video game news, Blizzard did this trailer where they announced that they're bringing the Warlock to Diablo. And you're like, well, Phil, which Diablo is that? Well, it's funny you should ask. First off, they brought the Warlock class to, or they announced that they're bringing the Diablo class to, or the Warlock class to Diablo Immortal, the cell phone game that some of you may or may not be playing. It's actually pretty decent. I've played it before, but that's coming in like, I don't know, something like July, maybe June. And then they said, oh, and we're also bringing it to Diablo 4 with the new expansion that's coming out in a couple of months. And like, oh, and the trailer for that was badass. They know how to make trailers. Blizzard still knows how to make trailers. But then as if that wasn't good enough, they're like, and we've got one more surprise. It's actually out now in Diablo 2 Resurrected. And you're like, what? Right now? Yeah. Yeah, you can go buy and there's an expansion and it's already out there and it's ready. And you're like, what? And it was made with a lot of feedback from certain high-end community members and streamers to make sure that this new class and addition was done in the spirit of Diablo 2. As you know, the Diablo 2 community is about as passionate as the City of Heroes community is, in that you don't make anything that's completely out of left field and doesn't, fit the, the lore and the game design and everything else, if you're bringing something to the table. And so that got my attention. The funny thing is my wife actually started playing Diablo for a week or two before the expansion. We had played it when it first came out, but she got an itch and decided to revisit it. She had re-downloaded it and was playing it a couple weeks ago. But this kind of got me back in and downloading all of those and whatnot. So yeah, so I'm very excited. And if you pre-ordered the D4 expansion, you do get the access to the champion or paladin or whatever the hell it's called class right now. You don't have to wait for it, but the warlock class will be out later. I think it's when the expansion comes out. Maybe a proper stalker and just go to the end of this by stalking through. So yeah, pretty excited by all of that. I like Diablo for the same reason I like City of Heroes, for the same reason I like Earth Defense Force, for the same reason I like Muso games, for the same reason I like Monster Hunter. These are all games that make you feel powerful. I like to beat up lots and lots of things and feel powerful. I always liked paladins, but over the years of playing that class on so many games, I tend to stay away from it. Always the same feeling. Paladin is like tanker. It's that comfort food. It's not going to be brilliant. It's not going to super shine, but it can take a punch. It can go to the front, and it's very, very predictable and safe. It's the comfort food class. And I definitely see that with tanker here. Oh my gosh, heaven forbid you say something disparaging about the tanker class in City of Heroes. That's messing with people's comfort. That's like complaining about American Pie. Don't do it. Don't do it. You will have so many fanboys come down and just beat the shiz drizzle out of you. Well, I mean, what else would it be? If it's not a warrior of light, then it's just a warrior. What else would you expect it to be? A warrior of darkness? That would be an anti-paladin. That would be the bad guys. Like, what else would you expect it to be? That's like saying fighters are all samey because they fight. Wizards are all samey because they use magic. It's literally, there's a fighting trait. What do you expect, Phantom? What do you want them to do? What do you want them to do with it? I do have some deeper thoughts in it, but I do think like the knee-jerk reaction to that discussion is like, what were you expecting? Access to saves, but take down the Syndicate boss. Nice thing about being a stalker is you can just stealth through all these guys. I mean, well, Amazons are, I don't know. How are Amazons different aside from being female? How are Amazons different than just warriors with a different name? As I stab, I like how I'm right here and they don't see me. I love being a freaking stalker. I really think you guys should play a stalker. Wait for it, wait for it. Oh, he's dead too. Yeah, that's what a Stalker does with a 3-pack. Stalker. I'm telling you, better than Scrapper. Just saying. Hey, Cross. I'm back? Well, where did I leave? Did I leave somewhere? Did I go? Am I supposed to bring Warrant with me? Oh, gosh. Warrant is going to ruin my whole stealth shtick. Oh, my gosh. And now they somehow magically see me. All because of Warren. Oh, my goodness gracious. Thanks a lot, Warren. You've managed to aggro the whole entire effing dungeon. Thank you very much, buddy. He literally aggroed the entire dungeon on me. They are more of a mix between agility and melee class. I don't know what you mean by... Isn't that rogue? Rogue is an agility melee class. That's a rogue. OMG. Can you store recipes? Just sell them, CrossFit. There's no need to hoard them. Why are you hoarding them for? Watch this. Can I sell things at this character? All right, so take a look at this, right? This right here, there's no reason to hold white and yellow recipes. Sell them all. Just sell them all. Sell, sell, sell. Sell. Sell them all. Now with orange recipes, even those you should probably sell. What you can do, just to make sure and make double sure, go to your auction house. Okay? Go to recipes. And just double check what the recipes are worth on the auction house. That one's only worth 10,000. That's not even worth me listing. 10,000 in this game is chump change. You know what? I'll post it for 1 and just sell it really quickly. What else do I have? What else do we have here? Oh, look at that. That's just sad. That's just sad. 125 is probably what I'll get for it. I could probably make more by selling it back to the vendor. What about this Kismet? What about this? That one's worth 255. That's not the most shabbiest thing in the world. That might be worth holding on to, because if it's selling a lot on the auction house, it might be worth something to you down the road. This would be the one recipe you might be tempted to keep. I'm going to go ahead and sell anyways, because if I ever want this Kismet Endurance Recharge recipe, I'll just buy it back from the auction house for 255 because it's chump change, and I just got 255. So it's not like I'm only losing the auction house fees of 10% if I do end up buying it back again. That's the only thing I possibly lose, right? So you might as well go ahead and just sell it for 250,000 and call it a day. And look at those. All 3 of those sold for that much. Whatever. There you go. That was easy. Not really rogue. It sounds like a rogue to me. Agility-based melee class is a rogue. That's literally the definition of a rogue. A swashbuckler. Whatever you want to call it. A mix between a rogue and a fighter. So here's what's really funny. Back in my day... So one day, Paizo, in its infinite wisdom, decided to come out with a new class called the War Priest. Now, why did this piss off Phil? Because we have the cleric on one hand, the priest or the cleric, and in tabletop gaming like D&D, War Priest clerics can usually wear pretty good armor. They can wear medium armor, right? And then there are paladins. Paladins can wear heavy armor. Both of these are holy warrior. Both of these are holy warriors. Your clerics can wear medium armor and cast full spells and whack things with weapons kind of good, but not really. Paladins wear full armor and they have limited spell casting, but they're better with a weapon and shield, right? And full armor. What the beep is in between that? Where do you come up with something in between that? They tried really, really hard to squeeze something in between there. When really, especially we're talking about a system where as a cleric you could take feats to get heavy armor. And as a champion, there are ways to get better spell casting. So there's already ways to kind of get somewhere in between without... But it's just a champion that's more devoted to, casting, or a cleric that's more devoted to whatever. It was just like, stop trying to squeeze stuff in between things that don't exist. Don't exist. Your rogue is literally your agility-based melee class. Yeah. But rogues can use a spear and shield too, right? Skirmishers. You can call them skirmishers. Fighters. There's dexterity-based fighters in all these games. Dexterity-based fighters that use a sword and spear and shield. Dexterity-based fighters all the time. In every tabletop game, in every book, fantasy book I've read, there were fighters that were dexterity-based and not strength-based. Yeah. So, yeah, to be fair, like, the rogue does have the stealthy, sneaky, steal your pocket flavor. So they made a type of rogue called Swashbuckler. So Swashbuckler was basically the rogue chassis, but without all the I'm going to steal your stuff, you know, and stealth angle. It was the I'm the dexterity base. But there was always dexterity based fighters as well. Fighter covers a large gambit of things, so it wasn't necessarily... A fighter can be anything. He can be your big buffy gladiator, but he can be your watchman. He can be your bodyguard. Right? He could be your bare-chested bodyguard. He may not wear any armor at all. Fighter was used to kind of cover a whole bunch of things that basically meant melee fighter that didn't hide in shadows. And there was dexterity-based fighters as well. Totally dexterity-based fighters. And whatnot. Now, to be fair, like in Diablo, going back to Diablo and getting this back on Diablo, to be fair to your point, there isn't a, you know, in Diablo, without the Amazon, I guess there isn't a dexterity-based fighter. If you're saying that Amazon in Diablo uses dexterity instead of strength as their primary attribute, I suppose there really isn't that. So... you know, in my eyes, it just really is a fighter. But is it a barbarian? Probably not. And they don't have fighters, right? They don't really have the fighter class in Diablo. It's either barbarian or it's champion. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, don't hoard recipes. Don't hoard salvage. Sell it all, guys. You're wasting time if you're trying to keep it all. You guys, CrossFit, you've seen my videos on making money, right? Oh, you know what'd be helpful is before I go running around like I own the place, I put my stealth back on. Did this guy die in all of that, by the way, while he was aggroing half the dungeon? Did he die? I guess he did. Mr. I want to aggro half the dungeon. Access the lab's database takes down the syndicate boss. Yeah, Druid is always fun. And they got Druid in all these games, right? It's really funny that the Druid in Diablo 4 is like this big chunky person. But like in Diablo Immortals, like they brought the skinny Druids back. I think that's funny. Oh yeah, so are fighters. Like fighters in most games are the master of all these different weapons. That's one of their key ingredients. Like there's usually different types of melee combatants like swashbucklers and stuff, but one of the fighters' defining traits is that they can pick up almost any weapon and use it rather well. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, the other nice thing about this high defensive build is it's pretty easy to become pretty much a near deity by just by popping one purple, because you're already capitalizing on. I really gotta turn off my travel power when I get inside. Yeah. Yeah, swashbucklers. You might like swashbucklers and Pathfinder. Swashbucklers are your showy kind of dexterity-based, fighter guys. But there's also rogues that don't stealth. I think there was like in Pathfinder, anyways. Not every rogue was about snipping around their tiptoes. They had different types. They would branch them off in a little. Forget what they called archetypes or whatever. Going back to the champion thing, Yeah, what do you expect? Going back to champions, what do you expect for them to do with champions? Now, here's what a couple of people have done. So in Pathfinder, what they've done is they've changed the way the gods work, right? You don't have just necessarily the black and white gods of goody two shoes. They have deep personalities, traits, and they have different characteristics. So let's say, for example, you're a champion of Tarag. First of all, understand that in Pathfinder, when you talk about being good means you just protect innocent people, right? But what's interesting is about the Paladin of Tarag, he takes an oath to hunt down anybody who harms his clan or his people and show them no mercy. Whereas a Paladin of Shailene, the goddess of like beauty, forgiveness, and all this other jazz, will absolutely not strike anyone down, even if they've done something bad, if they're, asking for surrender or whatever have you, because you always come forth with a rose to try to prevent conflict before it blossoms. I think Pathfinder did a really good job of providing a variety of deities so that your champion and your clerics play very, very different depending on which one you play. They role play very, very differently, and they have different abilities and spells depending on which ones you pick. And I think that gave a lot of flavor to the typical, I'm a goody two-shoes, make sure you tithe 10% to the church and always help out that little lady going across the street. And it gave this wide rainbow of like, they all share the desire to protect innocent people. But they definitely have much different focuses and stuff. And you could even see them not getting along in a group together. Yeah. Let's see here. On Pathfinder Wrath, I went with Warrior with Angel Mystic. Nice. How's it going? Going good. Nethos is a black and white god. Nethos is just about pure knowledge and all that other fun jazz. For some reason, I always trouble playing evil characters. I actually feel bad for NPCs. So evil guys, it's easy. I think I think Pathfinder does a really good job of making it very easy and simplistic, making it necessarily simplistic to understand what is evil. Evil are guys or gals who have no compunctions over harming and especially killing innocent people if it means getting to their goal. Now, it doesn't mean they're psychopaths, so that could certainly qualify. But a lot of your evil people are people who are the kind of people that are like trying to do good things, but they're just willing to kill innocent people to get to those good things, right? And Cheliax is a really great example of that. Cheliax had riots in the streets and stuff when the god Aradin fell, and so there were people dying from that chaos. So the noblemen made deals with the devils in order to help regain control. The Hell Knights in particular, in their pursuit of maintaining order so that chaos never happens again, well, let's just say their philosophy is that in order to make omelets, sometimes you got to break a few eggs, right? And they will totally, do that and take advantage of that. That makes them evil because they're willing to kill innocent people in order for the greater good. So when you come up with characters that are just, willing to make those kinds of compromises, and you cross that line into being evil. But Pathfinder makes it clear. What is that line? That line is basically enslaving or killing innocent people. That's it. Nothing else. So if you're just a greedy landlord that kicks the pregnant lady out on the street because she didn't pay rent, that makes you a jerk. But it doesn't make you evil in the eyes of Galarian deities. Played a demon once, felt like a menace. I couldn't bear to do Lich or Swarms. Well, with the undead, they generally see the living as basically food or a fuel source. So that's why they're evil. It's not like they're curling their mustaches going, maybe some of them are, don't get me wrong. But for the most part, you don't have to play an undead like, yeah, I can't wait to end all life. It's just like, I crave the flesh. I will eat her. And they don't think of it as any different as we're killing a chicken to eat the chicken, right? But that, in Pathfinder terms, makes them evil because they're willing to do it to basically kill sentient people rather than dumb animals. Defeat all incoming resistance. Well, this is going to be lovely because that probably means they can see through my freaking stealth. Well, come and get it, boys. I would hate to disappoint ya. Stop using ranged attacks. I'm weak to those. Wow, this is a... Yeah, no, I'm not surviving this. I didn't bring enough heals to deal with this shit. Wow, what, I have like 3 hit points there? Where's the exit out of here? See if I can rest here for a minute. Wonder what the Devil Path is about. Never tried that one. I mean, you know, the just, you know, in Pathfinder anyways, it's just willing to take or enslave innocent life. That's it. Like, to get your goals, right? It shouldn't be the goal in and of itself unless you're playing a psychopath character like, you know, the Joker from Batman or whatever. Wow. I can't figure out where these guys are coming from. Let me come right here. I have hardly any inspirations left after blowing the gasket valves. I hate some of these scripted missions. Oh, we're gonna... This is probably the only really... This is the really frustrating thing about playing Stalkers. When it comes to these scripted missions, I hate scripted missions. I hate them with the burning passion of 100 suns. Because for whatever reason, in order to make scripted missions work the way they want to, they felt the need to give them game-breaking powers. Those game-breaking powers is the ability to see your character even while they're stealth. And that's aside from the fact that, oh yeah, let's just throw 500 enemies at you at once. But it's really, it really chaps my hide and makes me want to uninstall the game because it feels so cheap. It feels so cheap. I hate that in any video game. I hate it in tabletop gaming when it pops up. It doesn't usually unless you have a bad DM. But I hate Deus Ex Machina. Enemy just breaks whatever you bring to the table because we're trying to make this moment work for the bad guys. And it's just very, very frustrating. I enjoy Pathfinder Wrath. Not many RPGs give that mythic lack option, make you feel OP if your base class is right. Yeah, I mean a lot of RPGs will let you feel OP if you build the right class or follow a build guide. Even Baldur's Gate 1 will let you be OP if you follow a build guide. Or you know what the hell you're doing. Here's the other thing. Because of the way these spawns work, when I come back into the dungeon, they may hunt me down wherever I'm... I don't know. I don't know what the rules are of these spawns. Can they see me invisible all the way on the other side of the dungeon? They're going to start running towards me with the unerring accuracy of a homing missile. So here's one of them, because she starts shooting at me right away. Jeez, could they throw any more enemies at me that can magically see through my stealth? Son of a gun. Cheaty freaking game. I mean, luckily, unlike some games, this game gives you the way to cheat back with inspirations. If you quaff enough purples and shit, you can power your way through almost any bullshit they throw at you. Because if it wasn't for that, I would have uninstalled this game a long time ago. I knew going into that, now that I knew what that fight was, you saw me basically buy some purples with some greens to back it up, and that's all you can, like, that'll let me cheese that. That'll let me cheese that. Without that, that would have been impossible for this character. I mean, I would have died like 3 more times before I finally whittled them down. You know? Is it true that a corruptor is a blaster but in reverse? That is incorrect. A corruptor is a defender in reverse. Secondary passive for a blaster or primary for a corruptor? Ask that question in game chat. So many of, yeah. No. No, it's a defender in reverse. They have the opposite defender powers. Right? The defender's secondary is their primary and vice versa. The thing about, like, let's say, you might see some names like, let's say, Plant or Ninja or whatever have you as secondaries. Well, the secondaries for blasters are not the primaries for corruptors anyways, right? Because, oh, they are. Well, hold on a second. If you're thinking like, what, the secondaries for a blaster, well, you have like ninjutsu. That wouldn't be a primary. Would it be a primary corruptor? No. Right? Because the primary is blast. Now you have to have me double guessing myself. What's the let's see here. Corruptor. You have me second guessing myself real quick. Corruptor. The primary is their assault power. So both, they're similar to Blaster in that they both have assault power sets as their primary. But when it comes to their secondary, the Corruptors is more focused on support, like overall support of the party. And Blasters is just kind of focused on supporting themselves, really. It just, you know. Yeah, I love Corruptors, but they are very different than Blasters. Very, very different. A blaster, you can almost pick any primary and any secondary and they'll sort of kind of work because their main job is blasting and doing a lot of damage at once and killing the enemies before they get to you in solo. And just about any primary will do that pretty well. And the secondary tends to be like your backup plan with things that get you out of jail free, essentially help to lock down an enemy or two or slow them down if they get too close or punch them in the face and hopefully knock them out if they get too close. It's powers like that in their secondary, which is a corruptor. Corruptor is literally things like debuffing all the enemies and blowing them all back and buffing the entire party with kinetics or healing them all with empathy and buffing them all with, you know, with pain and stuff. So, yeah, Corruptors, if you take a look at like our Corruptors here, let's take a look at Corruptor. Corruptors are actually pretty, in a way, similar to Blasters, but you take a look at their powers here. Stop it. Gosh, no one cares. Pop-ups in my game, I hate them. But you see a lot of ranged powers here in their primary, just like Blasters. In fact, if you were only looking at the left side, you may not be able to tell whether this was a Blaster or a Corruptor. But then this middle column here, the secondary, is what kind of sets them apart. And this is a really good Corruptor, by the way. This Banshee Corruptor build has turned out to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Give me 1 second. Let me go use the girls' room. Talk amongst yourselves, or let me know if you want to play something in particular. Haha. Yeah, let's do that. You guys didn't say anything while I was gone. What the heck? You guys are no fun. Yeah, you guys, hey Cloud, you guys aren't even talking. I don't even know what to play now. He's expecting to come back and see all these suggestions of what to play. CrossFit, have you tried doing Corruptor yet? One thing about Corruptor is in order to solo well, they are very, very reliant on picking a good primary and secondary that work well together. Unlike Blaster, where you could pick like any primary, secondary, and it's probably going to work. You need to pick two that really kind of gel well together. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I did. So I ran a super group for many, many moons back a couple of years ago. And I did all this shit back then. I didn't really like it, but I did it because, you know, when you're running something, you kind of do what the group wants, right? And you're leading an SG, you should probably run some task force once in a while for people. And don't be a stick in the mud. Now that, you know, that SG didn't work out, I'm like the world's biggest stick in the mud. I'm so big stick in the mud. And fire blasters, right. Like any blaster, fire anything will work well. I'll do fire ice blaster, it works well. Like fire anything blaster will work well because you'll generally kill things before they get to you. You just think about making a Corruptor or controller? Yeah, you know, controller and Corruptors both share very similar secondaries. But of course, the controller locks everything down and hardly does any damage by itself, whereas the Corruptor usually makes a better solo person because he can kill everything with his primary. Now, with that being said, if you watch all my videos, you know we have figured out a way to make the controller work and make the controller work really well in solo. So that's no longer an issue. Yeah, Trick Arrow Blaster with Seismic would work really good. Sure, absolutely. I love Seismic. In fact, I've got a Seismic blaster I made here. Where is my... Oh, it's on my blaster page. Here we go. We made a Seismic blaster not that long ago. Now, he is Earth Manipulation, but I could use Trick Arrow on him, no problem. I love Trick Arrow. Trick Arrow is so much better than Arrow Assault. Which, by the way, I'm going to make an Arrow Assault Blaster. I'm going to make an Arrow Assault Blaster. Should we make it together as a community? I can make it right now just to have it whipped up. But I am going to make an Arrow Blaster because I think Arrow sucks. But if there's anywhere it shines, sort of, kind of, it's going to be on the Blaster. It's not going to work well on the Sentinel. I've looked at the numbers, and it sucks donkey nose hairs on a Sentinel. Absolutely. I was going to say about archery, but don't be cruel. The thing about archery is, I think, and I made one on the test server, and I think I understand what they're trying to do with it, because its attacks are quick. It's supposed to be kind of like this single targety, really good archery, single target blastery type of thing that just really doesn't do a lot of damage, but goes pew, 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 pew. But it just, if you really want to do that, boys and girls, if you really want to do that, play Beam Rifle. Play Beam Rifle. If you're looking for like a single target focused, blaster, go for, Beam Rifle. Beam Rifle has one cone-like AoE, and then there's the T9 Big Explosion, which is on a huge cooldown. Everything else is pretty much single target, but it works really well because it not only does really great single target damage, but then it also gives this secondary effect that spreads, and that secondary effect, whenever you hit an enemy that has that secondary effect, they get additional effects, and it works really good. Arrow is nice and relaxing. It is nice, relaxing, and bloody feels weak compared to every other power class I played. I guess it's pretty weak. Like, I can't see myself doing ×3 on an archer, a solo blaster archer, the way I do with most of my blasters in the 40s. With SOs only. No set bonuses. No big defenses. My Brute Duo group has been going through all the hero task forces and nothing else. Nice, nice. I haven't figured out where I want to play dual pistols at. I want to do dual pistols as well at some point. Yeah, I got the procs for the Scrapper SL. I could load up that Scrapper if you want. I will say it is noticeable, the differences with it. And in case you don't notice it, it flashes it up on the screen just so you can't miss it. But I at the end of the day, I don't think it makes my opinion change very much of the Scrapper. You definitely want to get him as fast as you can. But I still feel like the Scrapper ranks below the Stalker for me. The crits don't happen enough to make me go, woo! But, yeah, but it is better. It is a good idea, I think. I think you had the right idea. Oh, well, that is the scrapper that I have. I'll show you here. Once I load it up. Speaking of not being able to handle too much at once. Hey, Tammy. So we have Falcon Flight, Shield Defense, War Mace, or War Mace Shield Defense, depending on how you want to look at it. Well, I have no clue about costume slots. I never use all 6 that you start off with, so I've never looked to see how I can get more. War Mace is harsh on endurance. If endurance is my only problem, I wouldn't be grousing so much. So you can see here first of all, the defenses are a little on the low side. It's backed up a bit by resistance, I suppose. But and the problem is when you mix those two together, when you compromise on one to feed the other, it doesn't feel super good. I think my Stalker's defense without using hide is above 20%. Now, maybe I need to enhance it a little bit more. Nope, I've got a triple. I've got a triple slotted for defense, so it isn't a slotting issue. So yeah, that could be a little bit better. Here's my procs, by the way, for Bash and Pulverize. So we got some procs in there. Let me look at my, okay, we got IOs in there. Let's go find a mission to do. Let me fly to a different area. I do love wings, though. Wings are awesome. Should need more than one slot in active defense? I disagree with that because, so, you know what, on one slot on defense, you're talking, I think, like 13% total defense. Let me show the detailed info here. So 11% base value, so one slot would give me to 13%. Having 2 more slots pushes me up to 17 and change. So that's why I have 2 more slots in there. That's going from, that's taken away, let's see, normally 39% of things could hit me, and this cuts it down to 33%. So you're cutting out, what, 20% of incoming damage by having 2 extra slots in there. It's cutting out 20% extra damage by having those 2 extra slots. The problem is it spreads out ranged and melee into 2 separate power sets, so I gotta like cover both of those bases to get the value out of it. And there's resistance in there, which require different slots to address resistance, which I'm not doing because the resistance value 11%. An extra slot of resistance is only going to get that to 13-14%, which is only cutting an extra 3% of incoming damage. But an extra couple points of defense is worth a lot more than a couple of extra points of resistance. Oh, Mez resistance? It doesn't have a recharge of 200 seconds. It has a base recharge of like 4 minutes or something like that. 3.5 minutes. That's why I have recharges in it, because I want it to be up at all times. Base value 3 minutes 20 seconds, so 200 seconds. Yeah, it lasts 120 seconds. So yeah, I want to put a second slot in there so I can keep it going all times. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to put an extra slot in there? You want it to be down like 30, 40, 50 seconds? That's when I'm going to get stunned. That's the Phil luck. I don't want it to be down. That's asking for problems. Yeah, no. Eventually means right away, Cloud. As soon as you can. Because you don't have my luck. I'll get my candy butt stunned. Oh, that got him right in the heart. You think he's actually going to come over here? He's just going to sit back there with the machine gun and shoot me because he's a prick. Yeah, get your candy butt over here and stop hiding behind the freaking gun. Crunch. Very satisfying crunch on the mace. You have yours down to 90-second recharge on one slot. Well, maybe if I had hasten or global recharge bonuses all over the place, sure. But I'm not going to have that level 28. It's 3 minutes and 20 seconds. The only way to get that down to under 2 minutes is with 2 recharges. Ah! Like it when they die. Rah! There you go. Which enemy group do I dislike the most? You know, I lately I've been hating the Carnies because when I did this one mission with the Carnies, they were all throwing out those Phantom armies, and I get so confused as to what is the goal with those Phantom. Am I supposed to beat up the Illusionist? Am I supposed to beat up the Phantom armies? It's so confusing. You know, it's so confusing. Oh, we got shield charge now, too. So, yippee-ki-yay. Yeah, I just picked up shield charge on this character. So now you know it's really time to have fun. Test it out here, do a build up, then shield charge in these guys right here. And then do this right here. And that's how you get rid of 2 minions really quick, right? Oh, so juicy. I will say, there are people out there who's like, why play Scrapper when you can play Brute? And I will say, when it comes to just knocking things out in the least number of hits possible, I'm not sure you can beat the Scrapper here. Even when the crits don't kick in, their base damage is just so high. I just took out that Lieutenant in like 4 hits, and that was without any crits kicking in to save me. Because that's my problem with them is their crit system is just too hit or miss. The Stalkers you could at least predict and manage, but whatever. Oh, those multi-stuns, yeah. Hey, Roman, welcome to the channel. For returning noob. Personally, and I have a tier list for, I have a tier list, a highly contentious tier list for solo leveling characters, 1 through 35, which are your toughest levels, right? Everything's a little bit easier after that. And in that, I say Mastermind is by far the easiest class to play. I can easily do times 2, times 3 at the low levels with the Mastermind, no problem, blindfolded. Brute and Sentinel are right behind them. And I put Sentinel behind Brute, but honestly, Sentinel just got a big buff that probably puts it in front of Brute. They're both very easy classes to pilot. It isn't like, let's say, Corruptor or Controller, where you have to pick the right power sets, and if you pick the wrong ones, then you're going to be doomed, or you're going to have a much harder time. With Sentinel and Brute, you can pretty much pick anything, and it's just going to rock. It's just going to, and then some things rock more than others, but either way, you're going to rock. You're going to rock, and whatever have you. But welcome, Roman, and welcome to the channel and stuff and all that other jazz. So yeah, the first question I usually ask everybody, Roman, is do you prefer like range, support, or melee? It's a good place to start. That tells you whether to play Mastermind, which is support, Sentinel, which is ranged and very decently tanky, or Brute, which is more tanky and melee. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But either one of those three work great for solo people, and they're both pretty easy to pilot. They're all three easy to pilot. And I can show you either one of these right here if you're interested in one particular one or whatever. I can definitely show you any of them. I have lots of characters of each of those. And honestly, scrappers aren't too bad either. They just tend to be a little bit more squishy. They do a little bit more damage than brutes, but their squishiness makes it a little bit harder for new players to pilot. See, it's okay to be heavy on endurance, boys and girls. When you kill everything so quickly, it doesn't matter. Oh, I gotta lead them to the exit, too. Lovely. Yeah, invulnerability is easy to use, no complications. I used invulnerability on my very first character when returning to the game. The Energy Blast Sentinel is so much fun. I can show it to you, but I often pointed out that the Energy Blast Sentinel was great for a returning player because it has many layers of defense. Number one, they gotta reach me. Because I'm a ranged character, they might die before they reach me. Number two, even when they're getting close, I'm knocking them back because I'm playing Energy Sentinel. Number three, they have to get through the fact that I'm invulnerable Energy Sentinel, so I have pretty good resistances. Number four, I have an emergency heal. Number five, I got like this super emergency heal that can crash you at the end of it, right? And that's not even talking about number six, which of course I have inspirations. So there was all kinds of layers, to me not dying, with that. I'm looking to play solo game. Eventually I figured it out. I got a big character wanted by teams. A lot of teams aren't really asking Cloud like, oh, we only want you if you're this or that. This is not in City of Heroes. Now, if you're doing super high level 5, super hard high end content, they might. But the only thing about, if you're talking about a character that's going to eventually pair with others, the only thing you want to be careful of is you don't want to do an Energy Sentinel because it has knockback. You just want to make sure you don't do things with knockback. Also, masterminds tend not to be liked in some groups because there's pets. So if you're worried about being in a group and whatnot, and you're worried about maybe someone give you an odd eyeball, you might want to avoid those classes or avoid something with a terrible knockback or with pets. Honestly, if my pets bother somebody who's playing a mastermind, I can always turn the pets off. It's not a big deal. Honestly, personally, I don't care what other people think anyway, so there's always that. But if I did care about what people think, I would just turn off the pets because it probably wouldn't matter. The pets being out wouldn't contribute or detract from our ability to win the fight as a you know, as a freaking, whatchamacallit, as a mastermind, you know, you bring support to the table anyways, which the group will like. Let's see here. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of requests for brutes and tankers on teams. I don't usually see that. That's kind of odd because when I was running some groups not too long ago, the problem was we didn't have enough DPS. So I think it's, you know, depending on your server and what time of day you're playing, you know, and whatnot. Let's see here. Mastermind bots force. Yeah, it's easy mode. Yeah. I'm a noob, so a beam rifle, sonic armor sentinel, and it's amazing for level. Yeah, great choice. Make sure you pick up your preferred travel power from the power pool at level, you know, 4-2, by the way. Yep. At least by level 14. Mastermind still has buffs and debuffs and heals, so you can turn off the pets. Absolutely, still contribute to the tape. Or maybe just take your biggest pet, you know, just one pet. Show a little self-restraint. You know, yeah, you can definitely do that and be just fine. Controllers and DOMs tend to be disliked by many teams simply because people use their control powers and keep the mobs all spread out. Yeah, people get all picky about stuff. Personally, I roll my eyes. I don't care what people think. But you're right. You're right. Like, people get wound up about some of the weirdest things about other people just playing their classes and stuff. It's just kind of silly. You know, the problem with these guys is they do drain endurance on a class that's already a little endurance heavy, so that's obviously not helping out my case any. Luckily, Frostfire is not electric, so, you know, there's that. Come back here, Frostfire. I'm not done with you. There you go. You think you're so tough. Did I not defeat Frostfire and all of his goons? Let's see. That's why I use empathy for my mastermind. Yeah, not a bad choice. Yeah. Yeah, no, not a bad choice at all. And did I miss like one of his goons behind a crate here or something? Probably. Come here, goons. There we go. The Scrapper's doing pretty decently well. I do appreciate like and subscribe. Well, there you go. I'm supposed to say that as a YouTuber, right? Make sure you like and subscribe. Yeah, I know. I don't really care about YouTube stuff. But, yeah, we have a Discord server. You're welcome to join, ask questions anytime. I stream a couple of times a week, usually on Friday and Monday nights, sometimes through the weekend as time allows. So you're welcome to join, ask questions, and whatever have you. Demon Thermal, not a bad idea. And if you want me to show you anything, Roman, if you want me to pop up something on the screen, if you want to see a Sentinel in action or something like that, let me know. I could definitely throw that up there. This character is almost 29, so that's always good. Using mercenaries might be a substitute for not having a ranged character. Oh. Cloud, have you seen our Thunderstorm Fallout Queen lately? Isn't she badass? Ooh, this is a big chunky group right here. Ooh, we're definitely going to have to do the Russian charge and hope for the best here. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, I am impressed with that. I don't know if you guys just saw that, but that was impressive. Just charged into a group of 6 of them and took them out and hardly touched her health bar. Look at that. Look at that. That was chef's kiss. Yeah. That was chef's kiss. Any more of your friends want to join? Oh, stop sitting back there with your machine gun and being a wimp. Get up here and take your lumps. I am in my late 40s now, and muscle memory's not as good. I see a Dave man. If you see Dave man, it's me. Oh, there you go, Dave. Well, I'm older than you, buddy. If I can figure it out, I think you will too, you youngster. I have faith in you. There's a critical right there. I have to say, the DPS on this one, I mean, her DPS is really pretty good. I mean, she's whipping up on these boys and knocking them down in the process. So I have to say, like, feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. Feels better than a brute. Damage-wise, obviously defense-wise, not going to be up there. But if she can kill him fast enough, then, then the defense isn't as important. I haven't even really been using my inspirations a whole lot either. I should probably be popping a few of those. Let me throw some of these inspirations down here into my emergency tier in case I need emergency rations. Let me combine these 3 into a luck. That'll give me a little more breathing space there. What level is this scrapper? Is 28, about to hit 29. Oh gosh, he just crushed the lieutenant in like 2 hits. That poor lieutenant didn't even know it hit him. Now, there are a lot of guys over that I'm really hoping aren't going to join the melee here. Now I'm just going to back up while they don't see me here so I can get my endurance back. Join the scrapper side. Yeah, the scrapper's been doing pretty good. Oh yeah. If you have a purple going on, you expect to be a tough encounter. Purple will make. Are you trying to say, Cloud, that a purple inspiration would make all the difference in a tougher encounter? Oh yeah, no, you're 100% right. Especially since the character is defensive based, so we're already at 18 defense. So we're only getting 30% of incoming hits anyway. So if you take a purple, that's going to reduce it down 20% and cut down, all incoming damage by quite a bit. You pop 2 purples and you're practically invulnerable. And so this one might be one of those tough ones. It's hard to say till we get in there, see if we aggro those other guys or not. We're going to try not to aggro them, but we're not exactly stealthed either. So we're going to find out. Yeah, these guys don't have a very big aggro radius. Oh, there we go. That got their attention. Oh, well now I just leveled up, which means I've got a purple on my back anyway. So now it's on like Donkey Kong. Oh, you guys think you're safe up there? I don't think so. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to be you. Oh! Oh, she just crushed his skull in for 500 points of damage. Oh, the pain and suffering, the inhumanity. Oh, that wasn't even. That was just so wrong. Oh, there's another 500 point crit. That was complete and utter overkill. That was so wrong. You almost feel bad for them. The last three primary powers were all, I would always slot knockback to knock down because I know how crowd control things, knock things back rather than knock them down. I love being back on City Heroes on my fourth tune. Hey, Mr. Gadget. Like gathering running around the corner, whacking with a big hammer. I feel like cutting through wheat. You know, I was talking about this with somebody before because they were watching my videos, and it was one of the comments about, well, because I got my butt kicked, right? I ran to a group of enemies, and someone was like, "Oh, Phil forgot how to play melee. He should have ran around the corner." Da 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 da. And you know, I'm like, you're not wrong, but here's the thing: I personally don't have that kind of patience. It's really kind of funny, but I don't like waiting for enemies to come after me around the corner. That doesn't make me feel powerful. I like to kind of run in there. If I'm going to play a melee class, I want to be able to run in there and take things down quickly, or be like a tank and be able to absorb that punishment. But to be like, oh yeah, I got your attention, let me run around this corner. I get it. It gathers them up in a group. I get it. And I do it once in a while. I certainly do utilize it. But I really, really don't like it. So you don't see me do it too often. And sometimes I will die in places where I probably should have, used that strategy against really tough groups. I think to a point that you all were making earlier, I'd rather quaff a couple of purples and run into a tough, difficult situation and survive through it with the purples if possible, rather than play the corner game for a tough encounter. Of course, you don't have to use it for a tough encounter. You can just use it just to gather people up so you can do your AoEs better, but that's just... it takes a long time. It asks me to have patience. You know why I normally don't like stealth games? Is because stealth games ask you to be patient. Stealth games say sneak, sneak, sneak. Attack the guy at the right time when no one can see you. Now pull his body around a corner. That's asking a lot of patience from me. I have to be patient in life. I have to be patient in traffic. I have to be patient in a post office. I'm not even patient in real life. And pulling guys around the corner, I gotta now wait for them to come around. Did they see me? And yeah. Well, that's just me. Yeah, with brutes, you don't get the dopamine hit of Chris. You're right. You don't get the dopamine. There we go. Wow. I will say, that was a very excellent showing by our scrapper in that dungeon. Yes, is that the tanker? No, this is Scrapper. He scored a crit on you. Not fair. That is true. If an enemy does it, it's unfair. If I do it, it's completely fair and balanced. That's true. But precisely because I am impatient, knocking 10 enemies around at once is cool too. I'm not saying it isn't cool, but waiting for that payoff, I don't. Why don't I just play a class if that was like a key ingredient to playing a scrapper? I'll just play a brute or a tanker that can just be up in the front and not worry so much about running around a corner all the time. Or if you're telling me, no, Phil, you got to do it on all melee people for them to be good. So, in order for a tanker to work well with its AoEs, because the only way a tanker can even begin to think about soloing well and be in the conversation is if you talk about AoE damage, because that's the one thing tankers kind of do well. And it's the only way they can solo decently, right? So if you're going to tell me, Phil, the only way they can actually get those people into groups going around a corner, I'd be like, why wouldn't I just play a blaster where I can have these big, huge explosions right off? With a blaster, I just come around, I blow them all up. It's either they're dead or I'm going to be dead first. Well, something's going to die, it's going to die quickly. And generally speaking, it's going to be them. So why? That would be my question. Thankfully, I think with tankers and brutes, you can use taunt to bring things in close, because on on tankers and brutes, taunt reduces their range and pulls them in close. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying it isn't cool once you make it happen, Cloud. I'm saying it requires too much time to feel cool. I can feel cool right away on a stalker, on a blaster, on a sentinel, without patience. No, it's not instant gratification. You had to wait for them to come around the corner. That's the opposite of instant. It's like putting something in the microwave and setting it for 30 seconds and calling it instant rice. It's really not instant. It's still 30 seconds. It's the opposite of instant. Instant means like that. When my Falcon girl rushed up and killed that big clump together, that was instant gratification. That was beautiful. That brought a tear to my eye. That's the way Melee should be played. But going, here guys, come get me around the corner, hee, and waiting for them to run, that's not instant. Hey, Ladira. That's asking me to be patient. I don't want to be patient. Thankfully, again, I don't think it happens too often, especially on Brood and Tankers, you can use Taunt. But even on my Scrapper here, I don't think I had to use it too much. Most things came in kind of close. I did use it, I think, once or twice, the corner trick there in that dungeon, but not too often. A lot of them are nice and clumped up. Well, you know, Cloud, in a room that's all spread out, you know how fast the blaster kills those 20 people? Instant. It's a big explosion on my beam rifle. Takes out a huge clump, even if they're a bit spread out. It's great. Brings a tear to my eye. Yeah. Or my Sentinel. My Fire Sentinel goes in there, Leroy, and does this big, huge PBO explosion that's got like I don't know what the radius is on that thing, 20, 30 feet, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, you can play with the shield as a Scrapper, like my Scrapper chick. Yeah. She is Falcon Force, not to be confused with Hawk Girl, because she's totally not Hawk Girl, as we've established a few times. Just because she has a war mace, like so, and flies, does not mean she's Hawk Girl. Okay? She is totally Falcon Force. Yeah. Yeah. Biggest AoE is like 15 feet, I think. On what? On what? Are you talking about a blaster? You gonna make me pull out the fact sheet on blasters? Do we need a fact check on aisle 12? I do know that my blaster clears out a huge group. 25 feet. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Absolutely. And you know, the nice thing about Sentinels is they can fire off that nuke fairly often. Or if you're doing like on a blaster, if you're doing assault rifle, it's actually on a fairly short cooldown. Now it's a cone, but it's a very large cone. And it clears. It clears. And I never pull them around a corner to try to get the best value out of it or anything like that. I don't generally need to. You don't hear about blasters doing that too often. Hey, let me pull them around the corner and try to gather them all at once to do my big old AoE attack. Nah. Your blaster just goes in there and goes, watch this, boy. Pew. It's great. Brings a tear to my eye. What am I looking at this vendor for? This is level 29 characters. We got to go to the auction house and buy ourselves. What is this? Oh, I sold an Aegis recharge. Okay. Let me buy enhancements. Inspirations. Inspirations. Normal enhancements. Crafted enhancements. What do we want? A damage and endurance. Damage, damage, damage. Damage, damage, and damage. We got that. And endurance modification. Nope. There we go. Stop it, cat. Stop it. Psst, psst. Bad kitty. The nuke wouldn't kill them all unless I put them all together. I have to wait probably 6 seconds in between nukes, right? Well, first of all, in either one of those examples, you would end up hitting cap, right? Because there's a 16-person AoE cap, if I recall correctly, on both melee and blaster AoEs. So you're only going to be able to kill 16 of those 30 if you're trying to kill 30 all at once. Kitty cam. Everybody loves it. Kitty cam. Kitty cam. Do, 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 do. Kitty, kitty, kitty cam. Kitty, kitty, kitty cam. Everybody loves a kitty cam. Alright, that's good enough for her. What is this? Resist damage? Yeah. Probably something I picked up along the way. Sell that to the vendor. Yeah. Now, generally speaking, you know, when you get a times 8 talk, you're talking level 50, you're talking about another set of discussions there and whatever have you. But if you've seen like my Sentinel go in and stuff like that, I just Leroy Jenkins myself in the middle of groups. Fire tanker. Oh yeah, fire tankers are pretty dope. Pretty dope. Pretty dope. Let me. First of all, I will say again, I think like that dungeon was pretty good for that scrapper. I didn't have to pull around corners to get most of my AoEs. I probably could have gotten a little more value out of some of the AoEs if I pulled around corners at times, but that would have slowed down the dungeon clearing so much. I think that it wouldn't. I don't feel like it was really necessary. There are definitely times where you get certain enemy types that just want to stay at a distance, and with the scrapper you have no taunt. So it becomes, you know, a little bit more of an issue. Doing times 8 on your 36 scrapper? Well, God bless your heart. You'll never catch me doing that. Never catch me doing times 8 on 36 scrapper. Because their defenses ain't good enough unless I was using some sort of bunch of sets or something. Maybe I might, but let's see here. What do we have in Blaster Land? So let's take a look at like this assault rifle right here, right? Because that one's got kind of a quick recharge on it. What, Boo? What are you doing? Stop being a pest, cat. I use purples in my 3 AoEs. Well, how long does that work until you run out of purples? I guess you get a bunch back from doing times 8. I did have somebody, I don't like to really manage it that much, but I did have somebody who was like, it was kind of an interesting discussion because they were like, this guy did this video of him doing 8+4 or 8+7. And people were like, oh, you used inspirations. That wasn't real. And it was pretty funny. You know, it's an RPG. I feel like if you're doing anything and you're getting past it, then that works. But it is kind of interesting to see people get all gatekeeping about what works and what doesn't work and whatever have you. But, you know, for me, I generally don't want to rely on inspirations for getting through content. That's just me. And whatnot. Oh gosh, this one's set to ×3, so that's a little high for this level, but maybe I was trying to prove a point on something earlier. Boy, this should be really interesting. Well, trick arrow is a lot of fun, so that definitely helps out. We got some glue arrow here. Oh no, don't do that. Let's do... Oh, did I... Oh, I meant to do this arrow first. So you can see... You can do that real quick. I totally screwed this up, by the way. I hit the wrong arrow first. You're supposed to open up with the disorienting arrow, or with the Cat! Stop it. Up there right now. Up. Stop being a pest. Sorry. Cat also distracting me doesn't help. Yeah. I'm watching you, Cat, and I'm warning you. I'm getting on my last nerve. Defensive buff. Well, you know, yeah, you do it. You do you, but yeah, I don't know if too many of my scrappers that would even come close to doing a ×8 in the 30s. To be fair, I don't think any of my melee characters would. But, you know, I also don't like playing too much at the edge of my seat either. Now, let's see if Phil can remember how to play this character. Come on, get down from there, Cat. I am trying to do something here. Okay. Let's do flash arrow first. Let's do this the right way first. And then oil slick. What the heck? Did I get stunned? Oh, freaking hell. Come back here. Yeah, these guys are evil because they will stay at a distance and just shoot at you with their guns, which definitely makes it harder on the blaster here. I kind of rely on them to come in close and waste time in the oil or the glue to handle some of the stragglers. So, come on, really? What did I get stunned by? Come back here. Now, she's going to try to drag me into other stuff I don't want to fight. Come back here. Sword the Eagles? I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, assault rifle, trick arrow. Oh, yeah. Oh, and do I have... I do have some stealth on this character. Do I hear some beeping somewhere? So she's down there causing a ruckus. That's fair. Yeah, no, I love trick arrow. I think trick arrow is like the best thing that's ever been created. It is definitely a blaster's best friend. I'm not even sure what she's burning there. She's firing her weapon, which means she has a lock on somebody. Oh, that was so funny. Did you see him just like slip in the oil that's on fire? Ouch. The mez. The mez is what kills you. There's a mez for you. See, I can mez you too. Oh my gosh, how many hits does it take to kill you? Holy shiz! Oh my gosh. Like the forever enemy there. Another thing that's been really weird is that the enemies are spawning in almost always one level above the character, which also is kind of frustrating. Basically Rambo, yeah. Now, you get later on and they get back to your level, but I don't know why the enemies at the beginning of the map are always higher level than you. It's really weird. Yeah, you have to kind of go in with a lot of break freeze in situations like this. Now, normally, I will say, like, it definitely is an argument, too, to get in some sets early that have mess protection built into the sets. But these guys have ranged deals. Another, at least with the mastermind pets, are what has to take the hits. Well, yeah, that was a whole conversation I was having about not using bodyguard mode and charging ahead of your pets, because I don't want to take the mez hits on my mastermind. That's what my pets are for. Right? And by the way, I do have artwork of this lady as well. But yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see, we got a big old group right here, too. This is like an old Western shootout, too, the way they're kind of like way back there. Oh, there we go with another mez. Ooh, that's the life of a blaster, living life on the edge. Pets don't charge ahead anymore. I mean, it's usually with most of my mastermind attacks, I have the pets attack first. I don't care if they're ranged or not, so they're going to grab the aggro off of me. Anyone says, everyone are using thugs, so it felt so common? Oh, I don't know. I use the Beast Mastery and the robots myself. And then I've recently been doing demons. Demons have been fun because of the whip. Once you go whip, you don't go back. You want to see the whip? The whip is good. I love the whip. Whip's so good. Oh, I ran into that. Back to City of Heroes? What do you mean back to City of Heroes? Back from what? Where did I go to? Where was I at, Catherine? Is there a certain class you guys want to see or anything? Let me know. A whole villains group? Oh, well, I do villains too. They're all good. Actually, that was a villain character. That was a villain character, Catherine. My getaway, Jane Getaway girl? She's a villain. Jane Getaway. See, villain symbol. She's there to rob your bank. She's there to rob it. So, you know, what's interesting is I did find out when it comes to Defender and stuff why they suck so much more than Corruptor, even with a 30% damage bonus. And it had to do with when you look at, like, you know, a power like Fire Blast. And let's say we take, let's say, Fire Breath. And we put it level 30. Okay, so Fire Breath is doing 46 points of damage. Let's do Rain of Fire is also 49. So 49, 46 on that. On Corruptor, when you go to Fire Blast, go to Information, Rain, level 30, please. Rain of Fire is 113. And Fire Breath is 106. Now, the other numbers were what, 45 or something like that? So when you get 30% on a 45, that's an extra 15 damage. It only brings you up to 60. Brings you up to 60. Your Corruptor's base damage is 106. And your enhancements enhance your base damage, right? So if you get 100% enhancement on Fire Breath on a Corruptor, it's doing 212 points. But on your Defender, it's doing under 100 points of damage. And that's why you can't solo Defenders. I mean, you can, but it's just damn slow. And Defender villain team up. Yeah, they're only saving grace is yeah, but you know, is obviously you can pick certain power sets that make them much easier to play. But then if you just play those on Corruptor, you're so much better. If you're soloing, talking from a solo perspective. Ooh. What's your nickname in Discord? I think this was the villain I ran with that group, was Ice Flower. So I kept wondering, it's a good point, Jeremy, like, I was trying to figure out why is it if I have like you know, if I have a villain or whatever have you, okay, can I not get into my own? What the hell? Oh, my caps lock is on. That was close. Yeah, so because I was always wondering, like, if I play a fire time Corruptor, I can do decently well, but if I play a Defender, I can't even get past the Lieutenant and Minion half the time without dying. The thing is, when you're literally doing less than half the damage of the counterpart, you'll use so much more endurance to get the job done. It's not even funny. It's not even close. It's not even close to being funny. Now let's take a look at something else. Let's show what you give up. Let's show what you give up by being a Corruptor, right? So what do you give up? Supposedly your support powers aren't as good, right? Right? So let's take a look at that aspect, right? All right. So if we take a look at a Defender and let's say we pick Empathy and we say, let's say Healing Aura, right? Let's take a look at that level 30. Healing Aura is doing 178. Right now, let's go to a Corruptor. Let's go to powers. Let's go to secondary powers. Let's do empathy. Let's do healing aura. Let's take a look at the information. Let's go to level 30. What do we get? 157. Are you guys kidding me? Are you kidding me? Do you guys see? Can you smell what the rock is cooking? Is there anybody alive tonight that can see the problem with Defender? Especially soloing Defender. Let's pick something else. Let's pick kinetics, right? Everyone loves kinetics. Let's pick kinetics. Secondary powers. Kinetics. What is it that everybody loves? Fulcrum Shift? Fulcrum Shift. Fulcrum Shift. 20% strength to all damage, right? Let's see. 40%. 20, negative 20 on enemies, plus 20, plus 40 on allies, right? Let's look at a Defender. Powers. Kinetics. Fulcrum Shift. 25%. OM quadruple G. Does anybody see the problem? Assault rifle. No, I'm just using kinetics as an example. You don't have to be kinetics. I'm just using it as an example. Do you see the problem with the whatever? So full auto on a Defender does 81 points at level 30. On a Corruptor, at level 30, 136. 272. 272! Average damage 272. Let me look at that Defender again because I already forgot because I got a short-term memory. Assault rifle. So 272 versus 272 versus 81. 81? Are you guys kidding me? Do you see the problem? Do you see it? So basically, your Corruptors are doing much, much more damage, and their trade-off is that they're only doing a little bit less buffing, right? Usually where something like, let's say it lowers enemies to hit, it lowers their defenses by, let's say, 20%, it's a 25% on Defender. Now, don't get me wrong, that is still can be pretty significant in certain situations. But you're trading away literally half the damage for that. That is incredible. Especially if you're talking something, so if you're talking about, let's say, the difference in defenses and raising the party's defenses from 20% to 25%. That does cut all incoming damage by good, 15 percentage points. So it is substantial. But when it comes to other things like healing, when it comes to things like strength boost, that extra 5% of healing or 10% of healing doesn't mean crap, right? It just doesn't mean hardly anything. But the extra damage that you're doing as a Corruptor, because it's so massively different, is huge. Okay? Well, here's the thing, Cloud. Tanker was a group class. Blaster was a group class. Stalker, like Scrapper. These were all supposed to work within a party. The buffs have been given out to all the classes to make them wholly self-sufficient in solo. Okay? An argument could be made that the villain classes were made to work better solo-y. Okay. I'll give you that argument for a moment. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I'll give you the argument for a moment. But here, the hero original classes, your Tanker, your Scrapper, Stalker wasn't there, but, Blaster, Controller, all of those weren't supposed to be soloable. They were supposed to work in a group. All of them are now very soloable except for one. And that one is Defender. It is soloable, but just barely. It is very difficult. You have to pick the right power set, and you have to have patience. You have to have patience. Yeah. So that is what I'm saying, guys. At the end of the day, Defender did not get enough of a leg up. Every class was given leg ups to help it solo. Blaster was given... Here's the funny thing. Blaster was given more damage. The one thing it does really well was knocked up through the roof. Blaster got a damage boost, which was enough to help it solo much better because now it does a much better job of killing enemies before the enemies get to the blaster. Okay? Plus, set bonuses later on, stuff like that, made them more defensible anyways. Tankers got better AoE damage to help them solo better. They got better AoE damage and AoE range. Their aggro now draws people in, so they can solo better. Right? Controllers got Arcane Bolt. Enough said. You know, with Arcane Bolt, they can easily solo through the lower levels, even before they get their pets. What do defenders get? 30% damage boost when they're soloing. Right? That was clear. Their inherent power was clearly designed to help them solo. The problem is, it's, as you guys have heard me say before, it's like taking your broken car into the dealer and saying, look, it's stuck in second gear. I can only go 20 miles an hour. The dealer says, and 2 hours later, okay, I fixed it. It now goes 20%, 30% faster in solo. And you're like, let me think here. 30% on 20 miles an hour. Wait a minute. That means it only goes 26 miles an hour. That I still can't take it on the main roads. I can't take it on the highway. I'll get creamed. No, it's fixed now. It's fixed. That's exactly what you're getting with Defender. It was not nearly enough. Yeah. Now, if you're running with other people, they can obviously carry you. They can obviously carry you, and it's going to give you. It's obviously going to give you a boost. Speaking of, let's take a look. By the way, since we're talking about kinetics, let's take a look at Mastermind. Let's see how much kinetics they give people. Kinetics. Because remember, it's 20% for Fulcrum Shift. They give 15%. So your Mastermind gives 15%. So it's a tier lower than Corruptors. It's a tier lower. What about Controllers? Fulcrum Shift is 20%. So Controllers and Corruptors are roughly the same in terms of their support capabilities. Your Corruptors will do better damage though, but your Controllers will tie everything down. It's better for defense in a manner of speaking. So eventually I will make a video how to solo a Defender. It will be exactly 10 seconds long and it will say, don't roll up a Corruptor instead. Now I feel like I should play a Corruptor to prove my point. Playing a Corruptor and soloing a Corruptor is still kind of a little tough. Don't get me wrong. And be a YouTube short. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It would just be a YouTube short. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, you're exactly right, Cloud. So you're going to do less buffing, healing, support with a Mastermind, but you're leveraging it across, 6 different pets that each do all their own damage. So the math works out pretty good in the Mastermind's favor. And in soloing, it's definitely arguable, but I think you could prove that the Mastermind gets more value out of, let's say, his 15% Fulcrum Shift than the Corruptor gets off the 20% Fulcrum Shift when you're soloing. All right, what do we want to see, guys? Do you guys want to see anything specifically? Stop staring at me, cat. I'm not a TV show. Stupid cat. Well, you have something to use it on solo. As a defender, you have nothing to use it on solo. Well, you have it on yourself. Like, that's the thing with Corruptor, too. Yeah. You have to have it entirely primary. That's the problem. Like, on a Corruptor, when you use it, so when you use Fulcrum Shift on yourself as a Corruptor, let's say you're getting 20% more damage while lowering the enemy by 20%. You're getting 20% more damage. Your Fire Doodad does 100 points of damage normally. 200, by the way, with enhancements. So you're going up to 220. Okay, so you're getting some benefit of it. You're going to do 220 damage. The poor defender back there, he only gets like 50 points of damage with that thing, 100 with enhancements, and that 25% he gets, 25% of 50 is only 12. So he's up to 112. He's doing 112. So what's really funny is he's only getting 12 points of extra damage from it, whereas, you know, you're getting 20 points. Even though your percentage is lower, since it's an increase of a much greater base damage, you're getting much better benefit as a Corruptor out of that self buff. Oh, I'm a show? I know, he thinks I am a show. He's over here watching me, he thinks I'm a show. It has abilities that only work and not yourself. I have yet to see. Well, I am that person, Cloud. I love playing support. When I played, like, World of Warcraft, I always played Priest and whatever have you. But you're right in that it's kind of frustrating. I think one of the biggest frustrations with some things like Empathy is I can't believe that the buffs don't at least work on yourself as well. They're kind of weak. So it's not like you're getting a huge benefit when you're soloing with them, but why in the hell do they not work on yourself? That is just silly. You can only heal other people but not yourself. What? What? Alright, do you guys want to see an episode of the Fallout Queen or Mirage Monarch? I'll do one of those. Might as well have something playing while we're talking. Yeah, I really applaud World of Warcraft and City of Heroes because they've made it quite possible to play support solo and not just possible, but palatable. I think it is possible on Final Fantasy, but it's not palatable because you can heal yourself and buff yourself in Final Fantasy, for example, but you're doing so little damage with your stone spell. It takes you more times to kill people. It just, I don't know. Their approach was, we're going to make healers kind of able to do damage as well, but we're going to make sure they don't do quite as much damage as black mages, because otherwise you don't need DPS. And in dungeons, your healers are expected to contribute to damage when people don't need healing, and supposedly everything's balanced around this ideal. It's an interesting idea, but it doesn't solve the problem of solo kind of feeling bad when I'm playing those classes. In City of Heroes, you can play support rather well with solo. As a Corruptor, you're basically supporting yourself, and it works really well. Or better yet, as a Mastermind, where you're supporting your pets, works ridiculously well. It makes me feel like I'm playing a support character. In World of Warcraft, they have added the Delves, as you heard me say before, with the followers. And the more you heal them, and of course support them, but heal them, the better they get, and the more damage they do. And so you want to overheal them, and it really tests how well of a healer you are. Yeah. If you could buff yourself, that would change things considerably, and it might not be too hard, because without resist to defend against debuffs, it should all balance out. Yeah, I mean, Corruptor can, generally speaking, it depends on the power set. Some power sets allow you to buff yourself in this game, and others don't. A lot of kinetics let you buff yourself. It buffs everybody in a radius. So I run kinetic solo all the time. No problem. But not empathy. Ugh, empathy. All right, let's do a mission of Fallout Queen. Because I got Mirage Monarch to 20. Oh, there's Sebastian Shaw. Speaking of corruptors. Yeah, I got a few corruptors. Yeah, like Fallout Queen. Oh my gosh. What a choice in powers here. Holy cow. Did you guys so I showed off that video earlier about on the video that I posted today. I don't know how many of you saw it, and it shows how lowering enemies to hits really, you know, is huge in this game and makes you a lot more tanky, and that's why she can, for the most part, I don't get killed a lot as this character. I hardly lose life. It's just like the Stalker, really. High defense for the win. Let's see if we can find a mission to do. Eagle Eye. Yeah, we could do Eagle Eye. Alright, you ready to do some Eagle Eye, guys? You want to do some Eagle Eye on Fallout Queen? Let's do this. Salutation, my name is Phil, aka JCServant. Welcome back to another exciting episode of our Fallout Queen. And she is ready to do another set of missions. This time we're going to do the Eagle Eye story arc. So let's get into it. I read all about you, Fallout Queen, especially with the work you've been doing in taking the fight back to the Skulls and putting down their serpentine operations. I have to say I'm impressed. Back in the day, Brawler, along with the rest of the regulators, and I put a stop to all this serpentine business. But it seems that bad apples do indeed stink up the place. As you are well aware, serpentine is back on the streets and the Skulls are pushing at something awful. Fallout Queen, Kings Road needs a group of regulators, and I'm not the only one who thinks you should lead it. The Lord of Death, Part 1, Knock Knock. Listen, Fallout Queen, the regulators aren't what we used to be. Hell, I know I look pretty ridiculous putting on my old costume, but right now the people need to see the heroes out there in force, now more than ever. That's why I want you to represent the regulators here in Kings Road, to give all these people that lost everything in Galaxy City a ray of hope again. I'm committed to this, even if it's just you and I. Unfortunately, things are pretty dark at the moment. The Skulls have taken it in the teeth, and their leader, Velis Petrovic, isn't taking it lying down. With his brothers, Chernobog, behind bars, Velis is striking out with a vengeance at anything that threatens his gang. New legislation to crack down serpentine dealings here in Paragon City has apparently caused attention. And in response, we've had a string of assassinations against city officials that have supported it. Vele's scare tactic looks like it might just do the trick and silence the city council before they can even vote. A lot of people need your help, Fallout Queen. Do you want the job? Yeah, you guys know you want the job, don't you? That's the spirit. I knew I could count on you. Now, I may not be as good in a fistfight as I was back in my heyday, but I still got an eye for details and planning. My guess is that the Skulls are going to target Councilman Hammett sometime before his speech tomorrow at City Council. I want you to hand over to Hammett's office and provide him with some extra security. So off to Kings Row we go. We're running over to the councilman who's way off in the corner of the city in King's Row. This walled city stuff reminds me of Final Fantasy VII. Remember they had that big walled city at the beginning? So, Catherine, are you still playing City of Heroes? Something here isn't right. Oh, noes. Something's wrong, boys and girls. Ooh, the music. Dun dun dun. Here we go. If you're watching this, let's see. Well, Councilman Hammett. At first look, Councilman Hammett appears to be unconscious, but then you see his cold, lifeless eyes and a look of terror frozen on his face. He is very, very dead. Determine the cause of death. I'm a doctor now. You mortician. You find a single cut on Hammett's right hand, but while it's deep, it isn't lethal. Scrawled in his own blood upon his shirt, however, you read the following message. The Lords of Death are watching. Suddenly, you hear voices elsewhere in the building. Leave or defeat the family goons. Oh. Well, they were really quick. No, I think he likes being shocked to death. What do you guys think? Can Fallout Queen make it in time? And for those of you watching after the fact or watching through the playlist, I do record some of these while streaming, so if I'm chatting with somebody there, it's one of my chit-chatties friends there in the text. As we're streaming this on YouTube. Wait, what floor? Oh, it's one of these floor configurations. I swear they come up with the weirdest floor configurations. The problem is when you play the game a lot, you actually get used to them. It makes you wonder what kind of ways they warped and twisted your mind at that point. Don't beat yourself up about it. You did everything you could with the information we had. Now we have more information. The assassin is almost certainly a member of the Skulls. However, what's concerning me is that the family was involved. Fallout Queen, I've learned over the years to trust my instincts. And my instincts are saying that there's more to this than the family's letting on. Something very big is happening here. Something bigger than I originally thought. The Lords of Death, Part 2. Deadly Little Girl. Listen, I have some old contacts that keep tabs on the going-ons inside the family. I'll talk with them and see what they know about the family's presence here in King's Row. This is way outside their normal turf. In the meantime, I've narrowed down the most likely targets for the next assassination by the Velis assassin. Councilwoman Simmons just finished a press conference demonizing the Skulls for their assassination of Councilman Hammett. And now she's vowed to take up Hammett's work to make sure the Skulls are brought to justice for their crimes against Paragon City and the citizens of King's Row. It's like she's painting a bullseye on her own forehead. I'll get there right away. One last thing, watch your back, Fallout Queen. The more I think about this situation, the worse feeling I get. This whole thing stinks of the family trying to pave their way to keep the Skulls in business. Ever since Sebastian Frost took over the family business from his late old man, the family's taken great pains to appear hands-off when it comes to the Serpentine. Just be careful. I don't want to see you end up like Mina. This mission is of higher difficulty than normal. You may want to bring a teammate. Pfft, bring a teammate. What are they talking about? The family's goons all over the building. Have you arrived too late? Find the councilwoman. Uh-oh. Now, I like how they give me a warning about the high level on this one, but I've had much higher levels that don't even bother to give you a warning. Darn janky game. Now, he was outside of my radiation cloud, so he had a higher hit chance than normal. Wait for it. Oh yeah, he enjoyed that. Feel the power of Thor! Nobody here is impressed with the power of... Whoa, 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 whoops. Wow, that didn't trigger them? Nice. No problem for the Fallout Queen so far. What the hell? Is it storming here too? Did I call a storm up here? I don't think so. Huh, that's weird. Oh. Oh, that was so much lightning on one poor dude all at once. When they say it doesn't strike twice in the same place, they were wrong. Wow. The funny thing is, I'm playing this more like a blaster because they all die before I can do anything. Need a party for this, my behind. Oh, hello, bad guys. Is the storm following me upstairs? I thought the storm didn't move. Well, that's unfortunate. He's running away. Let me help you with the gust of wind there. Yeah, I don't think the storm cells follow you, so that's kind of weird. It's coming up the elevator, but whatever. Wow. That is impressive. Goodness gracious. Oh gosh, we got people behind us too. How'd you guys get behind me? That's rude. Let me give you guys a storm cell of your very own. Well, got through that. Wasn't too bad. Oh, between the Storm and Scourge. And by the way, we were talking about Defender versus Corruptor earlier. And we were talking about how the Defender's damage numbers are so low compared to the Corruptor. And that was even taken into account Scourge. Are you here to kill me? No. What? Why did they just... Why did you just knock out my entire security detail? Security? Those were family goons, ma'am. Why, yes, Sebastian Frost did provide me with some of his boys for security, but it wasn't anything illegal. The Skulls are targeting city officials that are putting out our feet down to combat their serpentine dealing. Mr. Frost simply shares my point of view on that problem. Wait, the family wants to stomp out Serpentine and King's Row? Councilwoman appears to be ready to comment on that when she pauses suddenly, looks around nervously. Do you feel that? Feel what? Oh, death, Fallout Queen. Can't you feel the cold hands closing around your throat? Velis wants you dead. Oh my gosh, no wonder they were warning me. This is an elite boss. Time for our heroine to get to work. How can she handle this elite boss? I don't know. We don't seem to be... Either one doesn't seem to be having a huge impact on the There she goes. Oh, next time, Fallout Queen, the Lords of Death are watching. Well, Fallout Queen had no problem with that elite boss, it looks like. I don't know what to say. Start at the beginning. Frost came to me with a very sensible proposal. He wanted to clear his family name of the stain his father had put on all those years ago. The link between his family and the street drug called Serpentine. I wanted to believe that he was doing it for the good of Paragon City, but deep down I knew he wasn't. I empathize with him. I understand the difficulty that a parent's decision can have on their children. She wipes a corner of her eye. It's okay, you can talk about it. It's my husband, Carl. You see, he's very ill, and to be honest, I'm not sure how much longer he has. We've been keeping it a secret because, well, his illness was caused by his drug addiction. If the press were to learn about this, it would ruin our careers. But worst of all, our son, Albert, would have to live with our failures hanging over him like a shadow, just like Sebastian Frost had to live with his father's mistake. I just wanted to find a way out. Frost said that he'd be willing to have some specialists come in to see what they could do for Carl, but only if I helped him. Standing up against Serpentine seemed to be a suitably appropriate favor given the situation. I thought it was a sign that good things were to come. I know it was a bribe, but I was thinking of my family. I understand. Your secret's safe with me. I see now that Sebastian Frost has just been using my position in the city council and the position of others like John Hammond to further his own ends. While I'll stand up against Serpentine, I must refuse Mr. Frost's offer. Thank you for giving me a second chance. The city needs people like you with a good heart, and one mistake doesn't make you a villain. I mean, unless that one mistake is mass murder, then that might do it. Jeremy says this is impressive. What, the Fallout Queen here? Let's see here. So, we'll return back to contact. Things are definitely getting interesting. I learned from my contacts that Frost and his family have been meeting with council city representatives for the past few days, trying to drum up support to fight Serpentine, all in the name of clearing his family's good name. Apparently, the Skulls have told Frost and his family to find someone else to peddle their drugs for them, and the Skulls have found their own way of making Serpentine, cutting out the reliance on Frost and his suppliers. Now Frost wants to teach them a lesson, and so he's going to make it very hard for the Skulls through political backroom dealing. All that's fine and dandy, but we have something more important to deal with. The Lords of Death, Part 3, Deep Cover. We need to find out where Velas and his Skulls are getting their Serpentine and shut it down. I'm afraid that squeezing gangbangers on the street just isn't going to cut it this time. The Skulls have their back up against the wall here, and the only way we're going to learn who or where they're getting supply from is if they want to talk to you. So I need to go undercover. That's the idea. I've already talked to Paula Dempsey about outfitting you with just the right disguise to fit you in with the Skulls. She can give you more details. All you need to do is get in with them and listen. If we can find Velas, then we'll find their supply. Until then, just follow your instincts. I'll be monitoring in case there's some trouble. Hey, Fallout Queen, Eagle Eye said you'd be coming by. Let me tell you, I've had some strange requests before, but this one takes the cake. Are you sure you want to be going undercover in the Skulls? Sounds pretty risky to me, but then again, I'm no hero. Here's your disguise. I fit it with a couple of experimental odds and ends that should be able to mask you the most eccentric hero from being recognized by the average street thug. Just be careful not to let it get shot or anything. That could be bad. I've also got your disguise hooked up with a nano mic and earpiece so you can keep in touch with Eagle Eye in the sky, on the sly. Oh, I almost forgot. Eagle Eye told me to give you this tracking beacon, just in case things go sideways and he needs to swoop in and rescue you. Let me know when you're ready to suit up. Let's enter the mission. After a few days masquerading as a Skull, you find out about this hideout. Someone here is bound to know a thing or two about Velas in the Serpentine lab. Well, I do say she's a mighty fine-looking Skull there. There you go. I mean, aside from the fact she's wearing somebody else's skull on her face. Listen to their conversations. Let me add a tab for NPC chat. I can't believe I don't have that yet. Man, Shadow Justice won't let me go upstairs. You could try the rib cage, but if you lose, says I don't have what it takes to be a deadhead. Well, let's just say if there ain't no deadhead alive that's lost a fight in the cage. What can I do for you, sexy? I want to go upstairs. Nah, only fighters competing to become a bone daddy or dead dog get to go upstairs, and you don't look like one of them. Not yet, I don't. Alright, I'll let Bone Dust know we got some fresh meat coming upstairs. Excuse me, coming through. Don't mind me. Just walking right through your big fight circle here. You ladies should come with me to Velas's party tonight. We really want to meet him. Yeah, you really think so? Yeah, I think he'd like you. What can we do to convince you to take us to him? So, I hear you want to try to join the ranks of death dolls. That's right, I'm ready. Well, you sound ready, but only surviving the ribcage proves whether you are or not. Told you I'm ready. You know if you lose this, you lose your life, right? A true skull ain't afraid of death. Well said. Go and talk to the fight organizer. He'll set you up with a match. Try not to get hit in the face. It could disrupt our comms. Dust gave you his approval? Alright, I hope you kissed your boyfriend this morning, babe, because today might just be your funeral. Hope makes you weak. Easy, save some for your opponent. Step into the middle of the ribcage and prepare for the fight of your life. Wow, that was not very nice. Yeah. Oh no, not now. The PVD are storming the building you're in. Fallout Queen, you have to get out of there. Time to face your death, punk. What the? It's the police. Let's send those pigs a message. Everyone get ready. I'm trying to figure out how to get from here. Everybody freeze! It's the police! Follow the person here. You got a well-hidden store case. He's got a weapon! He's got a weapon! Secure this place now! Don't do it, buddy! Come on, we'll take the sewers out of here and meet back up at the rave tonight. People like to live life on the edge. So now we just gotta go and confront Velas now, apparently. This is where the skull said Velas was hosting a rave. It's time to crash the party. I think everyone went to bed and chat. No one's been chatting. Find Velas. Oh. Well, that's a lot of party people there. Gotta love Scourge. Scourge is your friend. That's Fallout Queen. You should probably be worried. She's got like radiation and storm powers all in one. It's a little concerning actually when you give it any sort of thought. Oh gosh, I didn't realize I'm being flanked. It's like, wow, it's rare for my health to go down very much. Oh yeah, because you got people hitting you from the side. Or new PC ones I found out the City of Heroes still had an active server. Good to see they're still active. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Well, that's what we all buy new PCs for, so we can play really old games and play them really fast, right? Farming fake Nemesis badge, so much fun. Oh no, why are you doing that for? Do you get something for doing that? Dude, I didn't even realize, guys. Holy shiz. So check this out. Oh, we have a problem. I know. It's Fallout Queen. It's not safe for you here. Life isn't safe, little sister, but your concern for safety is appreciated. Tell Becker to lock up the warehouses after we've left and shoot up anyone who tries to leave. After Fallout is dead, something. It shall be done. Mr. Ada, if you'll accompany, I believe you want to see my lab? Yeah, I don't want very much. He's a bright guy. He talks in third person. He's one of the trolls. Okay, so check this out, guys. This is insanely good. Just in case you're wondering if Storm is a good power set, I think it just went up a notch here. So let's see here. We're gonna throw this Storm Cell down. Now, first of all, throwing Storm Cell down doesn't start combat. So I can still do a sniper shot, a direct strike. Watch what happens. Shaboom! It automatically triggers a strike on another person. It's really nice. I think it does even more than that. That was a very small group. We got a bigger group here. Gonna throw it down. Right, I have somebody shooting me from behind. I gotta worry about this one first. Oh, just die. Let me get my health back real quick. Where did the other ones go? Great, I messed that one up. Alright, let's see if I can find another group to make an example out of. Are you a group or are you just by yourself? Maybe you're by yourself, maybe you're not. Okay, think that one's by herself. Alright, we're going to... Yeah, right, it's a Fallout Queen, right. We're gonna hit this guy. And yeah, this guy takes like the secondary lightning strike. It's very handy. They just melt. Storm is really good. Oof. Defeat Becker. Now, is he going to come rushing after me? Oh, there he is, right there. Right on schedule. Boss is no problem. The Serpentine is just a means to an end. Enough, you're stronger than I am. I give up. Ah, you're as strong as Valas. Maybe he does fear you after all. Where'd he go? He went to the lab without it, the leader of the trolls. You have no idea how big all of this is, don't you? Where's the lab? There isn't a damn thing in the world you can do about me that will make me tell you that. Tell me where the lab is, scumbag. Oh, or what, you'll kill me? Even if you had it in you, death doesn't scare me. Face it, you got nothing. Deliver a message to Valas for me. What message is that? When you see him, tell him he underestimated the Fallout Queen, and then knock him out. Plant your tracking beacon on him. I wonder where she puts a tracking beacon on him, but he ain't gonna find it, like. Now everyone has a timer of friends to put in a group solo. So Phantom Zero says, I think all MMOs should be able to be played solo. Now everyone has a timer of friends to put together into groups. And yeah, that's I think that's what more and more developers are realizing. I think that's why Warcraft has put so much time now and energy into making their game more solo friendly. Fallout Queen, what the? Your tracking device shows that you're at the Royal Refinery. What are you doing here? You planted one of the skulls to lead you to Valas in the Serpentine Lab? Damn, girl, that's some smart thinking. Amazing work, my friend, amazing work. With one of the Petrovic brothers behind bars and the other on the run, the skulls are going to be licking their wounds for some time. Without their Serpentine Lab to resupply their backer, Serpentine and King's Row is going to be a thing of the past. At least for now it is. The Lords of Death, finale, dance with death. Assuming Becker went to go find Valas, it would appear that the Skulls have set up their lab at the Royal Refinery. That makes perfect sense. The industrial chemicals going through there would completely mask the telltale signs of Serpentine production. The facility manager is probably being paid or blackmailed into letting Valas and the Skull set up shop there. It's time to shut down Valas and the Skull's Serpentine Lab once and for all. Be careful. If even half what the Skull says about Valas is true, he is a deadly opponent who believes he controls the power of death. Additionally, Morana is still a big question mark. She hasn't shown up since you stopped her from assassinating Councilwoman Simmons, but that doesn't mean she isn't part of the equation. Keep aware, make sure she doesn't get the drop on you. You might want to get some help for this one. Good luck. Man, when you've got radiation and storm summoning, you don't need backup. Nature is your backup. I was way behind this video. That's what I get for playing the game and watching when I got delayed. Uh-oh. Powerful industrial chemicals mask the telltale odor of serpentine being processed in here. Okay. Ooh. Sounds like Ada was pleased with our operation. Well, let's see if he's pleased with this. Toasty! Fellas, Fallout Queen is here. How did she find us? It doesn't matter now, Becker. All that matters now is who. Who? I don't understand. Who led them to us? Marana, go. The lab location's compromised. What about the trolls are expecting a shipment? I'll deal with that in time. But first I must deal with Fallout Queen and the new regulators. I have a warm reception in mind. Mwahaha. Heap. Wow, this minion, I can't seem to hit her to save my life. Let me make sure I lower her defense here. Dude's name is Backbreaker. Backbreaker. I think Becker is better, but you're right. Backbreaker. He wants to be Bane so bad. Oh my gosh, you know what? You're right. I didn't even put that together. He's got the look and everything, right? That is too funny. You're right. That's a good... I did not catch that reference. Yeah, he's just missing like the bugs, but he's dealing with the drugs and everything too. He's got his own version of Bane Venom or whatever the hell it's called. The juice. The juice is loose. Nothing survives the storm. I have to say, this is a pretty powerful set, guys. This is a really good mixture you guys came up with. I think originally we said beam rifle, but I think Storm, which was the second choice, which is what I ended up going with because I already got like a beam rifle main character. I think this was a much, much better choice. I'm not gonna lie, this is so good. Now the music just changed. I've rigged this whole place to blow, Fallout Queen. Are you ready to die with me? Oh gosh, he wasn't kidding. Oh gosh, I'm getting my butt kicked. Not used to that happening. I'm trying to kite him. Ooh, there we go. Level 13. Listen to Velez. Our fate is our own, Fallout Queen. That is all we have, and that is what I offer. If the tragedy of Galaxy taught the people anything, is that you cannot rely on others to save you. But if you wish to prove me wrong, then by all means save the faculty manager from the Inferno. Which is somewhere back here. Oh, this guy's not trying to stop me? After I wasted a storm cell on him? Forget about Velez, find the faculty member and get him out of here. Well, I would if his little minion wasn't beating the shiz out of me. Six reward merits. Woo, I'm rich! Great work. The facility manager is already being treated at Crone Memorial Hospital, and the Skull Serpentine lab is already being put out by the fire department. Velez and Marana may have escaped, but without their lab, the Skulls are going to have tough times ahead. You've done it, Fallout Queen. You busted the Skull Serpentine ring. Alright, so we'll do something else next time. We hit level 13, so probably a good idea to get that taken care of. Couple more slots would be nice. Level 14 will be a travel power flight. And then we'll be good to go. Let's see, that direct strike does quite a bit of damage. Also takes away some of their endurance, so that's nice. Gosh, now it's gonna be even more dead. Honestly, it usually takes people out in one hit. I will put an accuracy in it just for kicks and giggles, but I don't think it needs it. Oh, I thought it had a 1.2. It does have 1.2 accuracy. Now it's 1.64. Go figure. Alrighty. So that was a good run for our Fallout Queen tonight. Got her up to level 13. One more story arc done. And whatnot, and that was the Eagle Eye story arc. He does have a little something else after that, but we'll have to save that for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and may you have a great day, and may God bless you. Yeah, guys, not a bad run tonight. I do need to start laying down, get ready for bed, though. For those of you watching the stream, I appreciate you stopping by. hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see if I can jump on this weekend or not. But I have no plans, and all my plans are in mud. Loose mud. Thank you, Phantom. Thank you, Flea. Thank you, Pirate Yuki. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, everybody who's been on tonight. Catherine, I hope I get to see you again. Cloudstone, and so many others. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night, and take care, and God bless you. Oh, and Tammy, of course. Tammy, have a good night. Have a good one. It's time to go to bed, Marty. See you later. Have a good one. Bye, Ladera. It's nice talking.